Hey, this is Arial 10, and in this video, we're gonna be walking through my remix of Everafter by Me Not You. And honestly, since I started making music, I've really wanted to remix this song. And as you can see, I messaged them back in like 2019, and I'm just so grateful that they finally gave me the opportunity. And I actually think I did a really good job with it, so we can dive in. I find that they still do a really good job of like building this beautiful song. You know, I do love remixing indie and R&B music or like soul music just because there's a lot of space, and I kind of want to make something that's appropriate for the dance floor. Alright, let's dig into the elements here. The drums are honestly like pretty simple. I love to carve out a little space here just for the kick, so they kind of like, you know, they kind of fit like jigsaw pieces. And what I find is really useful is if you have a bass with like a ton of low end, to put like an erosion on it, put some OTT or sausage fattener, just to bring out more of the mids, so it has like a fuzzy feeling. And I'll just point this out because I started doing this recently, but I have a bunch of processing on my kick now, which I didn't do for the longest time. So what I do is I have a clipper on it, it like shaves off like the sharpest part of the kick. And then I compress that a bit further, and then I will also reduce some of the sustain so it's even punchier. I know it's a very simple drum pattern, but I really like how it turned out. I think the shakers add a lot of really good energy. It kind of has that like the pace and the frenetic energy you want from house music. I almost always have to stack the snares if I want them to stand out. I love doing this reverse. I do it like almost every single song, like the second and fourth. This adds a bit of like suction. You almost like can't even hear it, but it has like a little bit of groove to it. Another big thing I really recommend is rushing the snare slightly. This is like a J Dilla Catronata trick. I think it's like one of the most classic techniques, and I didn't notice it at first, but it just sounds better. It just feels better. I love adding like a high doubled version of the bass. The bass is honestly like a lot of just like octave jumps. It's pretty simple. And I feel like you can accentuate the simpleness. It's like you double down on artistic decisions you've already made. So I feel like having that higher octave like bell just makes the bass even more pleasant. And it doesn't fight in the same space. Another big thing, pick this up from It's Murph, by doing like little transpositions upwards for just like a few moments in like rides or hi-hats, just adds a little bit of interest. It's like a little bit of like tension building. So for the instruments, as you can see, it's quite simple. It's pretty much just like replicating the same chords that are from the original song. It's kind of distorted saw wave. I also love adding like a choir sound. I feel like a choir sound, you can just pan super far and right. I've been adding a lot of like little micro shift, which is like a phaser flanger, and doing like a really heavy side chain on it, just like cutting out a chunk of that first bit of each quarter note. And then of course we have the vocals. This is the main lead. This is like what is really driving the energy, and honestly it's a beautiful, beautiful vocal. Take it on. Maybe love is the In terms of processing, I just have like a bunch of compressors, some saturation, a bunch of verb. I think one interesting thing is maybe using a little bit of slap delay. It's like a little trick to just like widen up the vocal. I have heard it can like kind of interfere with your mix, but so far it's okay for me as long as the mix isn't too bad. Then some side chaining, soothe. I did have to use DS10, just like a drum shaper, to bring down some of the tails. Now the main thing I added from a vocal perspective is the chops. And honestly, I just like love the chops. I think like a small sound inspiration for me was like that Million Voices song by Otto Knows. It just has so much character to it, and I think these, I literally just pitched them up and down manually. I just like went through one at a time, like what I thought was a good melody, but it's honestly like really simple. Most of it is just following the chords again with like minor variations. I use Little Altar Boy. Honestly, like I wish I had more vocal formant plugins that were as good as Little Altar Boy. I know everyone uses it, but it just adds so much depth of character. Now, let me show you in context here. That just hits so hard, right? One other thing I'll show you, I think I just found from like a tutorial online. It's kind of like producer nerdy, but it's essentially the same vocal chop, and you just pitch it up over the course of the entire period. You can just hear it in the background. and it's just like rising slowly. It's like coming up together, you know? And then you get that like repeated and the vocals come back in and there's enough space for it, you know, it just works so well. Yeah, honestly, I thought this turned out super good. So yeah, hopefully this is helpful to show you. I think Me Not You is a great band. You should check them out. And again, thank you to their team for giving me the remix stems.